Pizza in the morning, pizza in the evening, pizza at supper time. Really effective jingle of so many decades later. I still remember that. Anyway, this is the wanted to do this for a while, the how I make my pizza dough from start to finish. That's what we're doing. I'm actually going out of sequence. I already got it started so I could do it first thing in the morning and get that going, give it the most time so I can hopefully have it ready for dinner. And I think that's all I wanted to say about that. The components for the pizza dough: bread flour, salt, so that's just a little extra bread flour that I want to use up, olive oil, and instant yeast. A few important notes is you want to use bread flour instead of all-purpose flour. It has the higher protein content. I've tried this with all-purpose flour. It worked, but not as well. I've tried it like with half whole wheat. Again, it worked, but even less well than that. There's something different in like the gluten structure of it. But this is what you want to get your dough to shape up nicely. Also, instant yeast instead of active yeast. It's the slight difference. I have done it with active yeast and it did not work at all because you do not proof it in this recipe. So rapid rise instant fast acting yeast is what you want. It's a little peppier. This is just the salt, yeast, and flour, so the dry stuff mixed together. I'm just gonna do it a little more. One pro tip: very thoroughly mix the salt before you put in the yeast. Remember, yeast is alive. The salts can kill it, I'm gonna start adding the water. Another pro tip: I add it slowly and hold back a little bit. This kind of dough it's pretty loose and hard to work with, and I found that I just kind of eyeball it and just kind of go by when the dough looks about ready. Also, instead of kneading it for this kind of technique, to start, just like to bring it together, the wooden spoon, and then once it starts looking like all the water is absorbed, then I add a little more, and so on and so forth. Alright, so I'm about done with it. What I didn't show was that it actually, for once, I got all the water in, but it was still like so dry and crumbly. So I brought it together, just put my hands into this nice lump. Actually worked in a little bit more water just by getting my hands wet as I worked it in. So it looks gross. It doesn't even look like good dough, but this is basically what your no-knead dough should look like before you let it ferment. It looks like a dough that needs to be kneaded. Oh, just look at this. It has been, I don't know how many, a lot of hours, and my bowl was just big enough, so I am ready to get this shaped up into some dough balls and move on to the next phase. Next phase, I'm gonna shape this out into 4 nice little balls. One of them is gonna hang out and rest for a while and become dinner, and then the others I'm gonna freeze. And as I do this, keep in mind, like if anyone is a more advanced baker and watching me do this and going, what is she doing? That's such a dumb way to do that. Let me explain to you how I learned how to make bread. Kind of grew up actually making bread. This is such a weird angle. Look how awkward my hand is. Learned how to make bread from my father. The way we would make bread a lot, like when I was in high school and stuff. It was like a fun Sunday activity. He learned from books. And this was, the internet was a thing. I think maybe YouTube was a thing, but it wasn't like to the extent where you could just look up and find detailed videos of how to do all sorts of things. Like he read how to make bread in a book and started
doing it that way. So all these technique-y things I kind of learned the weird way from my dad, and just how I've been doing it. All right. So those nice strands, there we go. That's better. The nice strands we're talking about is the gluten, which we want. Oh yeah. So this is gonna work. Just gonna sticky dough. All right. And I'm gonna make these. This is what I was talking about. I don't actually know if I'm doing this the right way, but the way that I make these guys into balls, I just kind of fold and pinch.
We've got the biggest balls of them all. Alright, I'm about to brush these with olive oil. 3 of them are gonna get put in the freezer, and then I'm gonna decide which one I want to turn into dinner. Like, look at them. Look how nice. Yeah, love dough.
Okay, so while my dough is resting, I do want to share one very important piece of information. If you want to take anything you have seen here and apply it to your own pizza making, and if you choose only one thing to apply, this will be it. This is the tool that is essential. Cast iron skillet. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as a pizza stone. Alternatively, you could use a real pizza stone. I'm limited to pizzas of this size, so if you wanted to make something truly massive, you know, can't really do that. But so what I'm going to do is going to get this searing hot in the oven. And, you know, when the time to put the pizza in, prep it with a little cornmeal. I don't know if it's necessary, but I like to think it helps. It makes me feel like all that cornmeal I have left over from the one time I made cornbread is actually being put to use. So searing hot, skillet, and then gonna turn it under the broiler. Turn off the oven, turn on the broiler. What that does, the hot pan, it's hot and heavy enough to like hold all that heat in and cook the bottom and get it crispy and nice. And then the top down from the broiler is gonna kind of cook it from the top. So getting it up close under the broiler, it's like one of those nice narrow little wood fire pizza ovens. So that's my biggest tip. That is the thing that once I started doing it this way, it made my pizzas go from okay, and Frankie agrees, from okay to this is fantastic pizza, all this time and energy I've put into practicing making pizzas is worthwhile. So that's what we're gonna do. You can do it with your store-bought dough. If you really want to, I guess you could even do it with the frozen pizza if it'll fit in your skillet, if that's how you roll. You want to elevate it, but that's how you get a nice crust that's crispy but not burnt, and soft but not like dumb, pillowy, doughy, like microwave pizza. So that is the most important thing.
All right, look at him. He's ready to go. Let's get him shaped.
So soft and wonderful. And again, I completely self-taught here, so I don't know if I'm doing this right. But basically, my goal is that if it looks like a nice circle of pizza, then I probably did it right. So here we go. There he is, topped, ready for the broiler.
Okay, look at this. Can you hear it too, the sizzling? Also, we can see that I've discovered where the hotter spots under my broiler are, but that's that. Just gotta let him cool for a bit.
Right. Ah, look at that. He's cooled, he's cut, topped with some parm and parsley, and now I'm gonna devour this, so you all have fun and be safe and go try your own pizza building adventure. Highly recommend. Bye now.